Hello, I'm Howe, CTO and co-founder of Stornaway, the interactive storytelling toolkit, and we are doing a special interview for Adobe Max with Morgan from Living Security about the amazing project they've made called Masquerade. And without further ado, I will let Morgan, you can introduce yourself and tell us about Living Security, and then we'll go on to talk about the project. But whereabouts are you in the world?
Yes, thanks for the introduction, Rue. Living Security is based here in Austin, Texas, where I am. We are a cybersecurity awareness company focused on human risk management, so training companies worldwide on how to reduce your human risk. For our project that we use Stornaway for, it was a very exciting project for us this year. Masquerade. It's a choose your own adventure, whodunit style training experience for Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which is October for all cybersecurity companies.
Friends, you all have been invited here to celebrate Barnaby Butter's most profitable quarter in history. Or so you've been told. For I have been betrayed. I've fallen victim to a crime so vile I fear I may never be the same. And in this very room sits the monster who poisoned me. Tonight, you all will help me uncover the perpetrator of a most heinous crime, the theft and subsequent exploitation of my Netflix password. I will not rest until I have answers. So, who shall we start with?
Fantastic. What was the thing that brought you to thinking of a choose your own adventure style film?
Yeah, so Living Security actually started as a game company, escape rooms to be exact. So, from our origins, we were all about how to engage the audience and create interactive experiences. Starting out from in person escape rooms, going to digital escape rooms, and then turning into a training platform and a human risk management product, Unify. We've really developed, but we have never really lost our true roots in the interactive atmosphere. And so we've been wanting to do a choose your own adventure for a while. And Stornaway, once we came across the tool, we knew this was the opportunity to do it. We always like to make a interactive experience for our cybersecurity awareness month clients, and this was the perfect tool to really take that and be able to create different storylines, different learning objectives that end users could go through to really interact with the story and learn different cybersecurity elements as they go along.
How did the story come about, and can you tell us a bit about the story that you came up with and how it plays out in the game?
Yes. So we try to cover, I think, every creative storytelling element we can throughout our time here. And so we've done, gosh, reality spoof shows. We've done late night tonight shows. We've done very Jason Bourne-esque action thrillers. And so this mystery space, the clue, the glass onion, still remained untouched to us. And we were saving it for a choose your own adventure style because when kind of in that whodunit feel, you really need to have the freedom to be able to explore on your own and go into the library and see if someone was with a candlestick and such. So once we found the tool, this was the right time to do it. And the story, we have a great team of creatives here between our creative director, between our writer and our creative assistant. really just kind of all came together, and we were able to craft this story with the different characters that you really explore and investigate to figure out who is the culprit and how they ultimately broke into a Netflix account.
By stealing a Netflix password.
Yes.
Right, right. That's so great. And what was can you tell me a bit about the sort of process of taking it from script to film and then through into editing?
Yes. So we start off with really researching what our clients are looking for. What are the top cybersecurity elements in the field right now that we need to be educating on? So once we get an idea of the learning objectives that we're going to be covering, it really starts as any other creative script would on the drawing board. In those long writing meetings, really just throwing ideas at the wall until things stick. With this, we really kind of molded the characters and then started playing with the story around it. And with a choose your own adventure, we learned it takes lots and lots of story mapping. And so got very hands-on with diagrams on the wall, trying to figure out how the different stories can link together and make sure it always loops back. And then once we feel like we had each individual character's storyline set, our writer and our mastermind really took that back and was able to create something for us to build off of. Those first drafts were essential to us really understanding how it would flow, how it would work. And it was really even when we got to filming. So from there, we go through casting, we go through the pre-production process. And when you get into filming, since this was our first time doing a choose your own adventure, there is that excitement and uncertainty of, okay, wait, this is going to tie back there. And then this clue here will link here. And so, so our writer, who is also the script supervisor, was really tying those pieces together and making sure that we were always finishing the loops, always finishing the stories, no matter what the 50 plus videos we were on. So they kind of all came together as puzzle pieces in the end. And then in the edit bay, I know that was also a little bit of a process to make sure our creative director and editor was really bringing everything together, and those clues that had to tie back around, that those were being highlighted. And so it was really a team effort in getting this across the storyline and into Stornaway and into the final product you see today.
Fantastic. What point did Stornaway come into play, and how did you discover Stornaway, and at what point in the process were you able to start using Stornaway?
Yeah, so Stornaway came in at the beginning. Like I said, once we identified we wanted to do choose your own adventure, we needed to make sure we had the tools to be able to execute that and bring our vision to life. And so before we even started developing the story is when we found Stornaway and looked into its capabilities and made sure that that it would be able to fulfill a story that we know that we can dream up. We go a little crazy sometimes. So it was there throughout the whole process. I'll say once we understood the capabilities, we stepped back and really created and went through production. And then at the end, once we were in the edit bay, the editor and the implementation manager, who was really inputting it into Stornaway, were working very closely just with those the first understanding of where the buttons need to go, where the screens can land, what can be frozen at the end and such. So they are working very closely and back and forth on those just original mappings to make sure it is going in correctly. And then once we got that down, it was a very smooth process.
That's great. I had some chats with the edit team when it was going on, and what you had, you've got sort of custom buttons that you've put into the video and then put hotspots over the top of. How many people are on the production team overall from start to finish?
We are a small team. So internally we're 4. We bring a few extra people on for the production element, but within our team, it was the 4, maybe 5 of us at times that was really keeping this going. Um, and and we do large scale projects like this with our small team. So I think the level of the quality that comes out at the end, we're very proud of, because I
Yeah.
don't think it looks like a 4-person team
It
behind.
really doesn't. That's why I asked. It's really impressive what you're able to do with that, and to be able to make a full game of, how much content is in there. There's a lot of video in there, isn't there? What do you say, 50
Yes.
different story islands?
I
And
believe it's over 50 videos, and
yeah,
so what happens is you select, which character out of these 4 characters you want to investigate, and from there, uh, they have 2 kind of story loops that you have, choices at, and so you watch a little video, and then you can interrogate them with 3 questions, and then that moves to their next video, which then leads to 2 additional interrogation questions. So each step of the way, you're getting these crumbs and clues that you can piece together, to ultimately, once you investigate all 4 of them, at the end, you can place your guess on who the culprit is, what method of attack they went through, and from there you proceed to see if you were correct or not.
what was your role? You've talked a lot about us as a team. Obviously, you're a really close team. What was your specific role in the process?
Yeah, so as the director of content operations, I really am project managing it from beginning to end, making sure all the pieces of the puzzle are there throughout production, setting timelines, and making sure creative is running smoothly at the beginning. It did take a little more hands-on for me than usual during the story mapping phase, just because with that step, I think every member of our team approached it so differently. The way they're looking at the story map, the way they feel that uh, the creative needed to be, the storyline needed to be created. Some wanted to look at the larger picture and then figure out where the characters fit. Some wanted to build out the characters and then build the story around it. And
Interesting.
so really, that creative mapping at the beginning, since it was choose your own adventure and something we were largely unfamiliar with, that took a little more attention there. And then all through production and post, really just making sure notes are being addressed, that all stakeholders are addressed, and then once again, very hands-on at the end and delivery to clients. And we're launching in a hosted format, and so we are hosting live experiences across the world with this, with thousands of viewers, and walking them through to where they are going through the videos and the experience alongside poll questions that as a group they're deciding how to move forward with the interrogations. And so really just getting that ready to its final product, hosts up to date and clients up to date on what to expect there. And we just started just a couple days ago with the live experiences, and they are going great so far. And we have 40 more by the end of the month. So
Wow.
busy month.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to us about it. That was what I was going to ask you next, is like how it works for you, I suppose, commercially, to deliver that out to those people, and what the learning points are, and that
Yeah.
you've crafted this beautiful thing to teach people things and to make them aware of things. How do you measure success, and how are you effectively delivering this out to all of those people?
Mhm. Yeah, this is our family-friendly event for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So clients are able to schedule their sessions throughout the month to be hosted, and it's often encouraged that put it towards the end of the day so the kids can be back from school and watching it alongside you, or share it with parents maybe, but really having it as a group activity that everyone can be playing through and involved and invested in. Because we know that cybersecurity isn't just a personal issue. It's everyone has to be working together to be most protected. So we are launching in those hosted environments, and it's great because the chat room's going, people are talking, pointing fingers at which culprit they believe did it. And so you really have the community element there, getting involved. With remote teams, we are doing a few live in person as well. We haven't had those, but I'm expecting people to be yelling out who they want investigated and what questions to ask. But getting people involved and excited about the storyline so that they're engaged in the learning moments throughout. We believe that if you are engaged and interacting, you'll hold those learning moments for longer after the experience is done. So you'll be able to walk away understanding more. So those live experiences throughout October, what we're very excited about. And then after, we are seeing a future for this as an individual playthrough where a end user would be able to go through just independently and play through the full experience. Right now, as hosted versions, it lasts 45 minutes. So for a full hosted session, that makes sense. But the actual experience is much shorter if you're playing through independently. So that's something that we've kept in mind for independent users as well.
That's great. And after that, in that 45 minutes or shorter, you're getting to see all the different characters and all their stories, and then getting to that point of what you think. And what's your experience about how good people are at guessing who it was?
Yes, so that did take a little bit of tweaking in the testing stage because, in these stories, it's always who you least expect. And so we made sure to review at the beginning of the experience what everybody will be guessing at the end, as far as what the options are, what the methods of our attack are that they'll have to choose from. Once that was inserted at the beginning, we're seeing great results. It's obvious that it's hard enough that not everybody's getting it. But the people that are paying attention and connecting those crumbs together are getting those final guesses correct. I personally am horrible at investigations and murder mysteries and such. And so I don't think I would get it without knowing the backstory line, but those people that are invested are getting it.
That's really satisfying.
Mhm.
On the live experience thing, again, talking to Paul Rashid last night, that he does live in-person screenings with glow sticks, where people are holding up when the compare is saying choice one, and people hold up glow sticks to vote, and it adds a whole particularly in a darkened room, it's a really fun way of getting people to visually see what everybody else is voting for. It's great.
Oh,
I
that's great.
yeah.
We do share the poll results each time we go through a poll, so they see kind of how close they were and what group they were. So that's been fun, but I've been so happy to see that like I said, we've just been doing it this week so far, but we have had 100% interaction of the attendees in the room. And so people are there listening to the story and really following along.
Lovely. That's fantastic.
Mhm.
Max is a creativity conference, and there are aside from the whole sort of Adobe angle, I guess there's going to be people from all different backgrounds, creative backgrounds here. Who are the people who are behind the camera and the lighting and the production design and the performing in the show?
Yes, of course. Drew Rose leads our division in the company, and so he has been a vital point. He was the person that many years ago came up with those escape rooms, and so really is one of the founders in what the creative element of the company is built off of. David West is our creative director and led us through really the entire production, as always. And is fearless. He is a one-man shop. He shoots, he edits, he oversees the full thing. So, and then Ansel Lowry is our writer and script supervisor for this project in particular. She was such a vital element that, like I think you said earlier, having her there on set to a script supervisor was really able to tie everything together. And then
it's very dialogue led, so that the dialogue is the writing of it is very crucial to it. It's great.
yes. And then our creative specialist, Jason Frenzy, he is just, we couldn't get through it without him. He's helpful in all elements. And specifically for this, he loves the choose your own adventure element and piecing the puzzle pieces together. And so he was an important part during that early development where all of us were kind of a little lost at the beginning, seeing eye to eye on how to build the story and where to come from it. And he was really able to put some structure behind that and get us all on course to move forward. So that's our team. The actors were all great and wonderful, represented by different agencies here in Austin. And yes, the whole team, it really came together in the end.
What would be your advice to somebody watching this and feeling inspired to do their own choose your own adventure style experience? What would be your advice from a creative or operational or production point of view of getting started in, finding your way through that early confusion that you were talking about how to approach it and different people's points of view on that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think we expected it to be a learning experience, but we looked at it as once this tool is mastered, it's something that we have in our toolbox and can continue using. So that first time trying anything new, you're going to have your bumpy start. You're going to have your learning moments there at the beginning. And I'd say don't give up. Try approaching it in different ways. It really helped having multiple people in the room, giving those creative ideas, but approach it from all different angles. And then maybe have one or two move forward with and really put a structure that everyone can get behind. But don't let it stop you, because now that we have created this experience from beginning to end, we know that next time we do it, which will be very soon, I'm sure, is it's going to be that much easier, and that we know the program now. We know how the structure is a bit more, that we'll just keep strengthening those muscles, and it will get faster and better each time.
Fantastic. You talked about testing. From our point of view, testing is always really important, as it is in any kind of game type scenario. How did you go about testing? Who did you find to test, and who did you trust to give you the feedback on the experience?
Yes, many rounds of internal testing, and then I believe we had, I'd say, about 10 demo sessions as well. These were with clients that were interested in the experience but wanted to see it first. These were with internal interdepartmental members inside the company, but really just getting as many eyes on it as possible and making it clear that, hey, this is open for feedback. Would love to hear your opinions on the end of it. And really getting feedback from those was helpful in tweaking and little items throughout. I do feel like those first, after we got it through the internal ones, it was the first 2 or 3 that you started hearing the same notes. And once those were corrected, it was very smooth after that.
Interesting. Great. Fantastic. I think one of the things that people assume when they first come to doing a branching choose your own adventure style thing is that you'll end up spidering out to creating masses more content, and it taking much longer or being more expensive than it would if you were just doing a straight, linear piece. What are your kind of reflections on that at the end of the process?
Great question, because this was something, as someone that manages the budgets and timelines, I'll say it wasn't till we were in the creative room really starting to put storylines up on the board, that I realized just how much more content this is.
Right.
And so much more time going into it, much budget going into it, because what would be for us 45-minute experience, this was almost tripled because you do have 50 plus videos. So you're seeing 45 minutes of it, but on the back end, it's there are so many more options that you could play through. So I'd say in approaching it again, expect a little more budget, expect a little more time. We were able to consolidate a lot of the videos to where the core of the video is very similar. And then you have maybe different beginnings, different ends that give different clues to lead to the next one. So that helped us a lot in saving production time and saving editing time also, because it's that same edit going into multiple videos, and then just different cores, because ultimately we're expecting our end users to only see this experience once. And so they wouldn't know if 20 seconds of a video is going to be the same as the video that they didn't choose.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's really smart. One of the things we designed Stornaway to be able to do is to try and keep story maps neat and be able to create layers and tabs of different versions of scenes, so that you don't end up with this kind of massive spidery mass in your map. But I can see from how you did it that really worked for you. And we talk about a game ratio of, how much you have to provide versus what a person's actually going to see on a playthrough, and it always very often tends to be about 3 to 1. So it's interesting you're talking about it being tripled in terms of production, but those efficiencies of actually what you can get in the same shoot being there. So do you think it ended up being sort of double the shoot time of what you would have done for a 45-minute?
So we went in expecting it to be triple the time, and we ended up wrapping early a lot. So I overcompensated for time. I think just knowing the complexity of the stories, like you said, it's very dialogue driven. And so a lot of that's leaning on the actors that we're meeting very quickly and making sure they can keep up. We ended up in finishing about double the time, yes, of usual. Maybe a little less even.
And you were able to budget for that, and so it didn't there were no surprises around that. Well, finally, we should wrap up soon, because I could talk about this forever. But just in terms of creative tools, we talked about Stornaway. Were you using Adobe tools for editing?
Yes, the post world, they're all over the Adobe tools. It's what we use for all of our projects.
And in terms of script writing, were you using Google Drive, or what? How were you writing out? How was the writer writing out all the scripts and collaborating across all these different scenes, these 50 different sort of versions of scenes?
Yes, so we write on Writer Duet is the program that we use.
Right. We've got script writing tools with integrations into other writing tools coming in Stornaway in quite soon. So like being able to create interactive scripts more fully within Stornaway itself. So hopefully that will help with that part of the process. And we have a Google Drive template for creating interactive scripts. But if Writer Duet, it's good to know Writer Duet is I know some other people are using Scrivener and Final Draft for those things, but linking across all those things and tying the scenes to the map is the crucial bit.
Good to know. We'll definitely check out that Google Drive one, because I know it was a discussion at the beginning. We typically write in Writer Duet, but we were trying to figure out how to organize the scripts there.
Thank you very much for your time. It's been really nice talking to you about this. Is there coming to this fresh? I know you've talked a bit about the collaboration part of it. So sorry, I'm asking the same question again, I suppose. But just if there's anything else that you could advise to anybody else coming to it for the first time.
No, I think having the team there from beginning to end was extremely helpful. I know not a lot of teams are as lucky as us to have that permanent team there. But if you are kind of adding people onto the project and leaving at different phases, the person that was in the creative development room, our creative director, was the person editing it in the end. And so understanding those story flows and being present for the shoot, like we had said, the writer being present as the script supervisor, those common elements throughout really did assist in making this project possible and making it run so smoothly. As a production in general, it ran just as well and seamlessly as a linear production. So yeah, I think having those elements was really helpful throughout it.
Congratulations! It's an amazing thing. How do people find you and it?
Yes, livingsecurity.com is where you want to check out Living Security. We will be hosting this to our Cybersecurity Awareness Month clients throughout October, but I'd say maybe towards end of year check in, and you may have some additional options to be able to catch this if you are not a client. So please tune in, but livingsecurity.com.
Fantastic. And we can include the trailer. Yeah, we'll include the trailer alongside this and the links.